Welcome back to the channel, Husker fans. I'm your host, Steven. It's great to be back for another edition of This Week in Husker Football. Now, I'll say I didn't make a video last week just because I was kind of running out of time. I'm newly getting acquainted to my new job. Yeah, plus there wasn't really that much news except for what we're gonna get started with. So make sure to strap in and let's get started. So, as some of you know, we have a huge official visit weekend coming up with our spring game. We have the #1 player in the 2024 recruiting class in Dylan Raiola, who will be in attendance. Along with that, we have a couple prospects from Lee's Summit that will be coming, a top school nationally, and we have a couple of very talented players that will be joining us from that school. Along with that, we have the #3 overall player that will be joining us. And just so you guys know, because I think that it's going to continue expanding how many players will have join us, we're going to make a video just before the spring football game of all of the recruits and kind of where they rank on our big board and who we would love to see commit. Obvious choices, the #1 player and the #3 player, but we'll get deeper into that as we get closer to the spring football game. But something I love to see is all the traction that Husker football is gaining, and hopefully you are too. I'm ready for it. It's about time people see just how amazing Memorial Stadium is, how amazing Lincoln is. So we're excited for it. Along with that, in the last 2 weeks, we had our first commit of the 2024 recruiting class in Roger Gradney. Out of Texas, an athlete, 6'1", 190 pounds. He will be at the spring football game, hopefully doing some peer recruiting for a lot of top prospects. Next, we are going to dive into the press conferences that we had in the middle of the week on Wednesday. We're just going to touch up on a few notes and some things I've noticed. The first one with our new linebackers coach, Rob. He's coached with Rule for 10 years or so. He's excited about the room, excited to see how the players can work together and what he has in that room. So I'm excited for him too. As you know, Eric Fields joining the room and some other transfer players, and just to kind of see what they have. I'm excited for it. Along with that, we have our new strengths coach who talked about building on the baseline and where the players are at and just getting better day by day. 1% better each day will really go a long way. And that was something he believed in. He also talked about the differences in the position groups and how you train them. For example, he talked about the O-linemen and the focus being on the strength and mobility. And that was exciting to see. He also talked like you're not going to have them doing long wind sprints because what's that going to help with? But just building that room up and building the strength, the mobility, those are some key areas that I think will go a long way. After that, Raiola talked, and as you know, he is a man of few words. And he talked a little bit about Ben Scott and how valuable Ben Scott and the experience he's bringing in is. He didn't announce him as the starter, but I can't imagine it being anyone else. Ethan Piper is getting some snaps at center as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. You always love depth and people that can play multiple positions. For example, Turner Corcoran, who he gets a lot of hate because his pass pro is god awful, but hopefully with our new O-line coach, he was the only one that stayed, but hopefully he can continue improving and have some stability with the players around him. You know, especially getting Newly back, I think that's going to help out this O-line more than people know. Teddy, he's been engaged. Teddy Prohaska, left tackle. Other people that have taken snaps at that position: Turner Corcoran, Newly, Bryce Benhart, and this was all announced in the press conference. That's where I'm getting a lot of this from. Last, I wanted to talk a little bit more about the channel. As I talked at the beginning of the video, I have started a new job, so I've had to take a step back a little bit, but I look forward to, get going again. One thing I will say, we are going to change the channel. So where did Go Big Red FTW podcast come from? So Go Big Red because I wanted something that you could identify the Huskers. FTW, there is a podcast I used to watch before I was a huge Husker fan, and that was a Vikings podcast on YouTube. It was the Purple FTW podcast, and I just watched it religiously. Like, I watched it so much. So that's where it came from. But I can imagine as you look at the name, people might be a little hesitant. Okay, like, does he really mean like FTW, which you know what that comes out to be. So we're gonna change it to what is something I've carried with me since I was in high school, and that's MWP, which stands for Meta World Peace, being my last name and then a nickname that my coach gave me back in the day. So almost a complete 180 from FTW to Meta World Peace in the message, but I think that that's something that will help. Hey everyone, I wanted to add one quick thing that was really big with this weekend. I typically record the videos on Fridays, so that's why I don't get some of the parts that happen over the weekend, but I wanted to include it. Dylan Raiola, #1 recruit of the 2024 class, was seen at the Pinnacle Bank Arena where the Huskers, the basketball team, were taking on the Minnesota Gophers. I don't know why I go blank sometimes, but they had a matchup, and when he walked in, people got so excited. They were cheering. There was one point I saw a Twitter video where they were chanting his name. The crowd went crazy, and he stood up, he threw the bones, and he was just taken in the moment. Could this go Nebraska's way? It's super excited to think about. I hope we can make it happen. Let's continue impressing him. And this, even just this, is building so much excitement around the program. But yeah, that's it. Now we'll go on to the closing. With that being said, if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more Husker content. We'll see you next time. Bye.